And I believe we are live! Good day, my dear fellow friends. My name is Raven Marine, aka Thunburn1, and welcome to another thuncast, where today it is episode 20, the lucky number of the series. And speaking of lucky numbers, we have a special guest here, a guest that you all been waiting for, a man who represents the Emperor's will, like that one profile account thingy. But he is the real deal. A man who basically became far and wide and actually made this wonderful group. I give you the man, the myth himself, John! Do tell me, John, how was your day?
Going well. Done a little bit of cleaning around the house, so that's about it.
Ah, a cleanly place is always a good way to keep your. Okay, just keep something to do around the house. But it's
Yes, sir.
Yep. But it's really good to see you on the Thuncast. Do tell me, how do you feel now that you're going to be able to at least give us a little whole backstory on, well, how did you actually make this group? What was the purpose of it? And also, what are your intentions? How do you feel of all of that?
I think I'm pretty prepared. Gonna give you everything I can. Tell you, give you the ideas behind everything, I suppose.
Hmm. A few people was already able to start this journey in a wonderful start. It was Oliver, Clone, even Algo, and those were the mere prime peaks. And I'm not saying that the rest of you guests didn't make your prime peaks as well. You were able to make a glorious motivation to the Thuncast as yourselves. You were able to tell the story how you began and still going on. However, this is going to be the most legendary Thuncast of episode 20. All right, are you ready for the 6 questions?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. Let's begin. Oh, wait, one more thing. These videos will not be edited in any sort of way in order to capture the funny and interesting moments of the Thuncast. Without further ado, let us begin. First question: How did you find? Wait, you know what? I'm just going to change that question entirely. How did you create the IOM community? Or if you want, how did you find the IOM community? I really want to know.
So fun fact actually, up until 2017 when I founded the group, I did not even know what Warhammer 40K was. The group I was doing at that time, I was involved in a lot of row nations, if you're familiar with those. And I had owned a USSR group that got pretty big in the row nation community. We'd have wars with like official row nations, this, that, and the other. Well, that group had existed since it existed from, I believe, 2014 or 2015. I think the beginning of 2015 up until 2017 when I founded IOM. I'd just seen a video. It was real cool. It was something on YouTube, and I was like, "Huh, well, this seems pretty cool." Then I started playing a game on Roblox. It was, are you familiar with those domination games where you get a bunch of units that are on decals, and then you kind of like role play taking over stuff and all that?
Oh yes, I know that genre. I'm actually part of it. It took me
Yeah,
a
well,
while to find it, but continue.
yeah, I'd been playing on one of those, and they made a sci-fi one, and it was real cool. And I would always play the Imperium of Man up there, which I really didn't know what it was at the time, but one thing led to another. Started doing some research, and I'm like, yo, this is cool as shit. Like, why don't I make a group out of this? And so yeah, that's pretty much where the group started. I pirated Space Marine just to play, see what it was, and had a lot of fun. And that's when I founded the group. I brought over a couple people from my old group. Most of them, I don't think any of them are actually here anymore. Either either issues happened or they just got too old and ended up getting off of Roblox.
Fascinating. It's really actually good to know how you actually was able to start your journey from once merely a person going on to a Dom's game, so you can just RP your way at it. And then, once you make that glorious research within the search bar, you're actually able the glorious fascination of Warhammer 40k itself. And that is when the idea boomed. What if I created a group from out of this? From that moment on, you basically, well, just created this wondrous community. And it had its ups and downs here and there, but in the end, in the aftermath of everything, you were actually able to make something pretty much successful. Or what do you call it now?
Um,
For how everybody acts, the leadership, the factions, what do you all think? What do you think of it?
well, I will say it's very lonely at the top. It's definitely something to watch, but honestly, I'm just happy to have been there to found this and lead it to the point where it's gotten to today. I mean,
Lonely?
all I really can say about it.
Hmm. You know what really interests me was the lonely part. Are you actually thinking that you would want to feel that sort of excitement within your life? Like, go for, like, be a regular guardsman, experience the field of battle. Okay, mainly the point being of this question is, are you actually tired of your position and you would want to have fun?
I'm not really tired of it at all. It is lonely at the top, but it's a way to make sure everything goes like it's supposed to. Now, I will be frank and I will be honest, most of my duties nowadays for honestly the past year or so, they've been delegated to Algal. I just kind of watch, not not in the shadows, but in the light. I just kind of watch just to see what happens.
Hmm.
And I'm made proud every day, honestly. I could tell you with certainty that back in the day when the Primarch heresy happened about 2 3 years ago, I intended on giving up completely. One thing kept me from doing that, and that was after they left. It basically I held a rally thinking nobody would come. Lo and behold, right after they left, 40 guardsmen just show up, the most numbers we've ever had in that time, and that's what really pushed me to keep going. Sorry, getting a little off topic here, but
No, no, no. Every
yeah,
bit of information is like truly viable here. Continue.
it's lonely at the top, but it's something to be proud of for sure. I have used multiple alts. When I even have a couple alts in the guard right now. I rarely use them, but sometimes I'll just hop on and yeah, just play as a guardsman. Just see exactly what everybody else experiences.
Fascinating. A man who was almost about to quit, but didn't decide to afterwards due to the motivation of the guardsmen, who actually wanted to be there by your side and fight the glorious fight with you in this case. Truly, that is a turning point within the future that. And I'm just not bringing in any sort of futuristic part here, where somebody can just time travel back in time and just stop and prevent you from doing it. However, it is really good to know that you care about the community to the point where that's what made you have the motivation to stay, to lead us, to be the emperor of this glorious community. That is wonderful to know, John.
Yes, sir. I mean, that's the only thing keeping me on this site. I don't think it will ever happen, but should the Imperium die, I'm done with Roblox, honestly. It's the one thing that keeps me around playing Caldega. I mean, honestly.
Hmm. As I say this for many people who I worked with, who I fought with, and died with in the battlefield, many people saw you as a pure inspiration who, many people who saw you as a pure inspiration, and you mainly didn't do and don't do anything. But that one thing that you did was to start the group. They see you as a mere beacon of light that allows us to fight on and die well. In this case, what I'm trying to say is like, thank you for making this genre. Thank you for making us who we are. Thank you for giving us purpose within this, and I do apologize for saying this, depressing life that we all have to live for. In the
Yes, sir.
end, every day that sometimes some of us would have to come from work or just do whatever in return, we'd always sit down onto the computer, load into Caldega, whether there's no enemies or not, we have a good time, we have conversations, we make meals, and that is truly the peak of the community itself. So as I
Yes,
speak for all of us, thank you.
not a problem. Like I said, I wouldn't do it any other way. I'm happy with how it's all turned out and very, very prideful. Not for myself, but for the Imperium.
Hmm, indeed. First question, very well answered. Second question, what was your journey like in the IOM community? Of setting it up.
Um, well, it depends on how far we look, but what I can say with certainty is up until about 2021, I'd argue, which even in 2021, 2022, we were kind of in that stage of development hell. It was very turbulent though up until 2021. Development hell is one thing, but those early days, so 2017 to about the end of 2020, it was, how do I put it? The foundation was a lot more shaky. Things were constantly changing up. When we first actually started this group, it was me and there was a guy named Yeags. He was the first war master and led all of the Astartes. We had been approached by an individual named Ecorot. And at this time there were multiple other Imperiums. We were the smallest of the small. There was Doom Forgers, there was Rufus Shinra 4, there was Ecorot's Chaos Group, and I won't lie, they did not want to see us succeed at all. They constantly raided us. They constantly did whatever they could do to actively prevent us from pretty much forming as a group like we have now. The way we responded to all of that was war, straight up. We would go raid these people. We would kick their ass. I'm sure I could find old videos and screenshots looking in the first IOM server, but yeah, I'm not gonna pull all those up right now. But it was constantly raids, and what our group didn't have was good technology. We had shitty R6 morphs, we had shitty maps, all that stuff. But what we did have was camaraderie and the ability to kick some ass. We did very great combat wise with anybody we raided, defended from, etc. Um, so eventually a new problem arose from that. The competition was all gone. We defeated everybody. Ikarot dead and slain, which Algol had a hand in that outside of us fighting him. Um, Other than that, the other two, Rufus Shinra and Doomforger, they fell pretty easily to the combat. Their morale was very low, and we would start seeing a lot of their members join us. Um, Eventually, Doomforger shut down, and we received a lot of members. Um, and then the big issue, which is what I was getting to, was what do we do now? There's no enemies to fight, so what do we do? And that's when we stepped into war clanning, which, looking back, honestly, that was not a good decision. Not a good decision at all. It bred one of the most toxic groups I think I've ever been on Roblox. Been in on Roblox, excuse me. Um, so yeah, we ran the War Clan formula for about 2, 3 years up until me and Algo finally decided to make the change and be more roleplay oriented, form a genre, this, that, and the other. And so that kind of leads us to where we are now. We had that 2 year development health phase where not too much happened. I mean, we'd still be active, we'd still be on our games and everything, but there wasn't much to do straight up. You could sit at Somnium, you could go patrol Cadia, and that was about it.
Whoops, I I don't think that you were able to hear me on that, nor the audio was able to pick it up. I do apologize. But what merely started as a group became a great war that would carry on for years and years within your group. And in the end, when the war ended, the great reward was the recruitment of many people who wanted to seek salvation elsewhere, other Warhammer 40k genre. And in the end, you had a question. What should I do? What should I do with many of these people that are within my disposal? And that's when you made that split-second decision. Make it into an RP of the sort. And in the end, that idea would become successful to the point where it still is able to recruit many people today. I'm truly stunned that that is how like the great battle of the Imperium of Man truly started. Well, sorry, IOM Imperium of Man started.
Yeah, I will say it's kind of crazy how it all worked out. I mean, formerly established groups and everything, and Doom Forgers especially. I will not lie, they had tech in 2019, 2018 that could rival us today. Honestly, um, but they ended up just falling under their own weight. And another problem that they had was their leader was not a leader. He was a developer, a very talented developer. I'll give him that, but he was not a leader in any way, shape, form. And a lot of his members who have joined us now, they would most more than likely attest to that fact.
Hmm, truly well said. And in a way, do you feel like during the time when you had war with him that he was a formidable foe?
No, not really, because we already knew that fact that he was not a leader. He was a developer exclusively. He left most of his command to his high command, and uh, to put it nicely, they were a bunch of fucking idiots.
Hmm,
Honestly.
hmm. What led to a mighty, well, said so faction led to its downfall. Something that you can say you can truly think about. Second question, very well answered. Third question, what is your position like in the IOM community?
Well, nowadays it's mostly a backseat, as I've said. I'm kind of just here for the ride nowadays. Don't get me wrong, me and Algal have discussions just about every day, deciding what we should and should not do. But that aside, I try and stay out of the public eye, and I try to let everything manage itself. Not sure how to pronounce this word because it's French, but hold on, let me see.
Laissez faire.
Laissez faire, that's what it's called. That's the way this group has pretty much been ran since the beginning, where people can manage themselves so long as they're doing what they need to do. Otherwise, I tried not to do anything, not to mess with it. I just prefer to watch so long as it works. And yeah, um, other than that, it's a very honorable position. It's one that everybody looks up to. But you can't make mistakes at the position I'm in, nor can Algal. If you make a mistake, people look at you like, how do I explain it? Like you're supposed to know the answer. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, I get what you're saying. When I was merely but a Templar chaplain, I had to make important decisions on seeing who would stay and who would go, making sure that people would commit to their promises of fighting for the Emperor that I worked for. In the end, many of those sacrifices had to be made, and I surely did not enjoy by kicking out the people who were making that committed promise. I ran
Um,
my Templar group the best way I can, and in the end, I could say that I'm truly graceful that it had gladly retired. The group also did.
if I may ask, because I've been curious watching your thuncasts and everything, who did you serve?
It was a group a long time ago. My memory's a little bit foggy, but the last time I remember I was just 10. Surprising, right? Full
Oh,
on
so
me being.
very long ago.
Yep, I full on tried my best. As a leader, it was hard, but one thing that I had with me was my experience within Jiro TC that was able to help me, well, say, guide me within the Imperium of Man grounds. It was basically saying like running a military simulator of some sorts. But either way, I tried my best. I was able to fulfill it. In the end, I had many mentors, and somehow a mutual hatred between my emperor, who kinda. I'm not gonna say anything bad, but all I can just say, he tried. In the end, we were all able to say final goodbyes to all the factions that we led, destroyed, and most important of all, fight and died for.
Cool. I was just curious. I've heard you reference it quite a few times.
Yeah, if I can remember the name. Come on, come on.
Was it
Uh,
perchance Eagle Sword?
no, no. It's like before all of these genres were here. Come on.
Well, Eagle Sword was the first Imperium on Roblox.
Hmm, it can't
Unless this
be
was
it.
just like a Black Templars group.
I believe it was somewhere between Thosin's IOM. It's foggy. It's somewhere between Thosin's IOM. That is the one thing I remember.
Cool. I was just curious.
Yeah. But beyond those other genres, I recently known them, but couldn't have the fatality or the mere mind set to join it because I was a retired man. I kind of wanted to settle on my own dreams and try to find something within my life that was missing. But in either way, you answered the third question very well. Fourth question: what are you going to do in the near future in the IOM community?
Well, as of right now, I'm not really personally planning anything. Um, Me and Algal have big plans, of course, for the entire Imperium and the 40k genre as a whole. We have two maps we're working on right now. Of course, one of them being Cadia, which we're hoping will solve a lot of the optimization issues. We have Mr. Madigan is our builder on that, and he's doing a very great job. Um, Other than that, keep these maps going, and we hope to get Holy Terror out one day. That would be the crowning jewel of this entire project.
Fascinating. Well, even though that is a little light story. Well, sorry, a light future goal. But in the end, it's a simple one, and a simple one that can easily be done. It may take years, in fact, but as long as the determination of our will is intact by what we want to do, as the Imperium of Man, we shall gladly do it. In the end, fourth question, very well said. Fifth question: what do you think of the IOM community as a whole?
Well, as I've stated already, I'm very proud of what this has become because 3 years ago we had a little genre, but it yeah, it wasn't anything like what we've got now. There was just two teams. There was the Chaos team, and there was us. All the other factions would just be pushed onto the Chaos team, and they didn't really have morphs or anything other than the Trader Marines and stuff. Um, so it's definitely come a long way, and I think we've got a long way left to go. We always do. The work never ends in keeping a group running, keeping it going like it's supposed to, and building that community. Um, but yeah, at the end of the day, the biggest thing I can say is it's just a sense of pride. It's like looking at your kids and just being proud. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that is heavily understandable. And not by saying like I have kids, but I used to RP a little thing where I would randomly adopt people and I would actually treat them like a full-on son, as me as a father figure. And in the end, a lot of people actually liked my father figure methods that it actually became a meme. in other genres and other groups that I had joined. In the end, that stopped and luckily been forgotten. People still DM me to see if I'm okay and I'm alright. In the end, I just love it in general. Just love people how they check up on me.
Yes, sir. It's definitely something. It's something to be proud of. I mean, honestly, that's really the only word I could come up with for it. It's like nowadays, even Algold, he does his work and everything. It's mostly managing development nowadays, but what we've created is entirely self-sufficient, and we could on development aside, we could honestly leave for a couple months and it would all still be here, just like we left it. I truly believe.
Mm, that is true. Make sure you don't do that for 2 months. Now that's just going to have a sort of sort of a misunderstanding of something. I don't know why. But however, fifth question, very well said. Final question. Now, this is a question because of. Wait, no, this is a question of your status. Because this can just happen either way. And probably some developers will actually listen to us, but I'm actually curious. And developers might be curious. What is the one thing that you would want in the IOM community that is not scheduled and it can happen right now?
Um,
Now, do note that
Honestly,
this. Oh, sorry. I
go
forgot to
ahead.
say this. Do note that this one thing can be anything within the Warhammer 40k universe, but it only has to be one thing.
Honestly, the biggest thing I could wish for right now is, and this is going to sound a little lame, but really wish we could support like a 100 member server on Caldega or Cadia or whatever. Just so, mind you, with like when I say that, I mean optimization wise, it doesn't shit itself. We could definitely get 100 people up there and play for about 5 minutes, but then the game's gonna crash. Um, if we could do that, we could get so much closer to the scale of 40k that we need, and not only that, we can foster the genre a lot better when you know what I'm saying. Every faction can all fight at once. It'd be a lot better, a lot more epic if that makes sense in scale.
Hmm.
Um, that aside, honestly, I feel like we've achieved everything I could have ever dreamed for. Um, there's a couple other things I would like to see. One big thing being the psyker powers, but we're already working on those. But yeah, really, it would just be that optimization, so we could have all the factions on at once, and it's not even a problem.
Hmm. A simple little thing that can be easily done, but yet beneficial for all of us. We all want to dream to have that big Warhammer 40k battle that we ever so wanted. And yet it is just so far, and it can only last for 5 minutes. So, in the end, it may be simple, but it is something to simply want that can truly be beneficial for all of us. Very well said on the sixth question. Well, John, I'm impressed. You answered all six questions, and you truly were able to give really big, viable answers to them. Some information that we actually didn't know that's kickstarted the group and also led to its great and downfall sort of things. And that's just talking about the horse heresy. Now, this is something of a little personal question of mine that I would like to answer for you. We'll let you answer. Can you say that you miss the old days of when Primarchs had exist and people could have become Space Marines when they wanted to?
It's uh, it's a very double-edged sword. I won't lie. While it was fun and it was a lot cooler to see a bunch of Astartes, it ultimately is going to be detrimental to the guard, and it was detrimental to the guard. Around that time that the Primarchs were here and that heresy happened, for probably about 6 months beforehand, you'd see one or two guardsmen. And of course, that has to do with the war clan focus we had then. We were a lot more worried about getting our Marines in because they were the ones who would definitely win battles. Um, what I'm getting at is it's a double-edged sword, but no, I would not return to those times. I like what we've done a lot more now because it requires merit. You must have merit to get to be a Marine, and to get, how do I put it? To achieve that merit, you have to genuinely put in work. You can't just join the group. Oh, he's good at gunfighting. Let's make him a Marine or a scout or whatever the fuck. It's a lot more organized and it's a lot more true to what the 40K community is.
No, John, you really actually reminded me of my old emperor. Truly a man of way of words, and he was able to at least make the most convincing ways of becoming a space marine and actually knowing what the space marine meant. If I can remember off the top of my head, becoming a space marine is wearing a don of armor of a knight who served its king. And no matter what, you must follow that king for whatever he does and whatever he tells you to do. In this case, when you are appointed the main knight of that king, you must guide the legion to victory. Guide them to make sure that they're able to go on the right path to salvation. Make sure to keep this wonderful kingdom alive. In this case, I'm actually very surprised that I was able to remember that. In the end, he had a glorious concept of what it meant to be as a Warhammer 40K Space Marine, and I still respect it today. Honestly, John, the most first stupid thing when I came to join this community was full on 2 weeks afterwards. I tried to ask Beholder for me to become an Astartes. And that went, well, not to say to get expected, but Fortes was able to give me a little warning. And in the end, when Clone was able to remind me of my roots, of what it means to be a soldier onto the field of battle, I had to get my act straight and actually commit to myself. I grown up, I grown up for this long time, and yet that I'm up to age, I still feel like a child. But now I am an adult because job, life, everything.
Yes, sir.
However,
I feel that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was gonna say this community definitely has a lot more adults, honestly, than pretty much anything else on the website.
hmm, yep,
It's our
that is really
relaxation,
true.
really.
That is sort of true. But however, John, it is already I'm sorry, 32 minutes within the thuncast. A couple of questions of mine, though, that if you would not mind of answering.
No, go ahead.
Um, what was it again? Ooh, I forgot. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna skip that. Do you have anything to say for the genre as a whole? This this is gonna take me a while to remember, so do answer this question. I have to think on what I meant.
Well, yeah, I was actually gonna ask you, give me a minute to talk if I could. Yeah, I was gonna say, pretty much to everybody in the group, I'm proud, and the rest of High Command is proud. What we've become is actually very formidable. It's consistent. It's honestly beautiful, for the lack of a better word. Big thanks to Algal. Without him, none of this would have been possible. Honestly, I could say with certainty. And not only him, but a big thanks to both of these, Clone. There's a bunch of people who have made this dream possible. Big shout out to our development team. Without the development team, shoot, we wouldn't be here. I can tell you that much for sure. Big shout out to Beholder. Even though he's no longer with us, he was a big force that drove us to do all of this. Really, I mean, it ultimately comes down to pretty much everybody in high command, but he was a very big source of that push. Um, but yeah, other than that, just keep on keeping on, keep fighting the enemies of the group, and let's maintain what we've got.
Truly well said. Yes. And one more thing. I truly feel sorry for the multiple factions that were trying to at least make it in. Necrons lasted for a while, and Eldar truly tried to make it in. I truly hope that people that you recruit in the near future is able to, well, be that sort of leader that you expected.
Yeah, our genre orchestrator and Algol, they have went ahead and done some removals and put some people who will hopefully turn those groups around into place. One of those being Imperial Justicar was moved to the charge of the Necrons, and I think they need some work on their morphs so they properly work with the new group or whatnot. But yeah, we have contingencies for our contingencies. There's always a backup plan.
Good to know. Without further ado, my dear fellow friends, I shall make this log come to its end. You all have a wonderful day and enjoy yourself. Thank you for being part of this thuncast and truly being a true inspiration to John and the Imperium of Man. In the near future, we are expecting big things, and hopefully, we are able to succeed in that in so many ways. So, without further ado, let us make this log come to an end. You all have a wonderful day, and farewell. Log end.